Any questions before we go?
Two scotches deep. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of Cheers to Controversy. Today we bring you Joey Capo, an up-and-coming Calabasas, California hip-hop pop star, creator, producer. This guy, he does it all. He even has his own clothing label. We could not be happier to have you on the show. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So look, the first thing we want to talk about before we get into obviously the tragedy that happened with DMX, because we will be talking DMX as it pertains to the music industry. And obviously he sat in, whether you loved him or liked him, you had something about DMX. So we'll be diving into that. We'll be diving into some other things with your history. But first, I want to get to your next track that is coming out in May. Is that right? It's coming out in May?
Yeah, May 7th.
May 7th, Heartstrings. Tell us about it, Joey.
I'm pretty excited about it. You know, I've been working up to this point to get this type of sound, this type of style of music over the past 6 years. Just been producing my own stuff and writing my own stuff, recording my own stuff, and mixing, mastering, pretty much doing it all to get to this point and to actually come up with this type of body of work and working up throughout the rest of the year, because I've been working to get other tracks throughout the rest of the year and to open up for my album for next year.
I mean, look, it's interesting to hear a guy with the fan following that you have, the success level that you've already had, to say those types of things. Like, what makes this track a little different than the other ones to make you say, like, this is the one I feel is what I've been working towards?
So I started with when I came into music, you know, I did a lot of like poetry and stuff. So obviously I jumped into hip hop, rap type of music. And then I built up a vocal, learning how to sing, learning how to do the piano, learning how to do guitar, learning how to do all the different types of instruments, production, and then working up to getting to pop music and R&B music. Just the fan base in there alone is way more interactive. They're a lot more open to wanting to listen to just different styles of music and just a different vibe. And during the pandemic, I made a 5-song EP, which was actually ended up being one of my biggest projects throughout my entire career. Ended up getting nominated for Hollywood Music and Media Award for R&B Record of the Year. A lot of different things happened after I literally stepped out of that comfort zone and did my own thing. I've worked with so many producers over the years, and it took literally the pandemic to push me outside of that and for me to just do my own thing.
So that you touched on something I don't want to pass by because it was a big deal. Talk about your nomination.
It was actually the main single from the EP. It was called Cold Hearted. Put that record out. It just picked up traction, which is weird because the entire record talks about me being cold-hearted towards the people that don't support me. And it picked up the most traction out of any record I've ever had. It has gained over 300,000 streams worldwide. It's pretty big over in London to Italy. So then all of a sudden somebody hit me up through email in London and they said they found my record through Spotify. They said, you know, like, we love this record. Ipso skipso, I got a deal with a licensing sync company to get my music into movies. Shout out to Roland. He pretty much just pushed the record, and it ended up getting a nomination into the Hollywood Music and Media Awards for R&B Record of the Year.
Man, that's incredible. Things. Yeah, so shout out to Roland. I don't know who Roland is, but shout out to Roland.
Yeah, he's the man.
He definitely helped me with a lot of different things. Definitely.
So all of these things, right? The pandemic pushing you into a little bit of the production side of things, you having to learn and become more versatile as an artist, this experience where you were nominated for these awards, getting some international exposure, all of that's gone into this new project, Heartstrings. What's Heartstrings about? I mean, it sounds like it could be heavy, but it could be anything. I mean, what was the inspiration for Heartstrings?
Actually, it's kind of funny. So the inspiration of Heartstrings came to me off of a balloon.
I don't want to let. Yeah, you got him ready as he was drinking a beer.
Yeah, you did.
Perfect timing.
I gotta go into this.
Yeah, you gotta get into some detail.
So, like, going off of like my clothing line, I have True Colors clothing line. I create all my own clothing line and design all my own clothing line. So here is a heart with a balloon string. So it's a heart. So you think of a string. So it obviously, so Heartstrings is a love song. It talks about pretty much just having a person that's with you that doesn't let you kind of fly away. So that's kind of like, so in other words, they're always pulling you closer. You know, there's a lot of times just through life or in just the daily basis, you know, you kind of get lost in the mix. And I've definitely struggled with depression through a lot of not only my life, but also my career in music. Not feeling like you're enough, and you kind of get lost in those moments. I've dealt with a lot of anxieties, and that person kind of pulls those heartstrings to be able to bring me back grounded. So
That
that's the
makes
song.
Deep,
sense.
man.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
that's deep.
excited. I'm excited to hear the rest of the lyrics.
And
So
so
where will they be able to find that on the 7th?
that will be on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, any major streaming platform, to YouTube, to anything. Literally, you can find it anywhere. You can literally just Google Joey Capo, and I promise.
Man, it's so different. It's so different than when I was growing up. When I was growing up, if you wanted to get a new anything, you had to wait till Tuesday. Then you had to get in your car. You had to drive to like Sam Goody or The Wall, where they were like, yo, we'll guarantee
The
your
Wall was
CD
it.
The Wall was
forever.
it.
And it's $23. Or you could go to like Circuit City across the street. It was like $11 for the same album.
I don't remember your
And
Sam
we
Goody
all
shit.
ended up going to LimeWire.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was no LimeWire when
Here
I
you
was
go,
growing up.
Capo.
You know, I mean, like, I think
Napster.
You're beating the system. Yeah, no,
I remember Napster. I remember being
Yeah.
like 17. Napster came out. I was like, yo, you can get all this stuff, but you still went. You drove out to the store, and you couldn't.
Exactly.
You had to go to specific stores. Like, you couldn't go to Walmart because Walmart wouldn't sell you the album that you wanted.
If you
They
were
sent
under
you
18.
yeah, there's some weird. No, it wasn't that. They didn't put the lyrics in the. They remember they
Yeah.
put like weird sounds over the lyrics. So you literally had to go. I mean, for us, the nearest place that I could get a record, I had to drive at least 10 miles. I had to drive at least 10 miles if I wanted to go out and get some music. Like, I couldn't just roll into the bathroom, sit down on the toilet, and be like, hey, I
And
just
then
downloaded this new album. Like, that just didn't happen.
Do you remember the first album you ever bought?
Yeah, the first album I ever bought, like myself, like I went on my own to get it.
Just like you're like literally you went to the wall and you wanted to pick up this album because it just came out. What was the first one?
Oh, the first one that like just came out, like that I wanted to go get. Let's see. So that's the thing. So when I got into music, I was excited to go buy albums that other people were telling me about.
Okay.
You know, so they weren't necessarily ones that just came out. But the first, yes, I do remember the first album. This is kind of funny because I must have been 11 or 12 years old. The first album, I was so excited, right? Because you go to the mall, and obviously I'm with one of my parents, right? Somebody dropped me off there. One of my friends' parents, somebody dropped us off there or was also there. But I was so excited. Like, I saved up, my $20 or whatever for how long. And I wanted to buy the Regulators. I wanted to buy Warren G's album. It wasn't Regulators, but Warren G's album.
Okay.
Right. So Warren G, that had You Don't See, right? It had that song was on there. And Every Day After Warren G, right? So there's that. It had obviously the Regulators song, which was just one of the most classic songs, which is why I wanted to go buy it so badly. But yeah, man, that was it. It was Warren G. Of all people, Warren G was the only Warren G album I ever bought. I saw him in concert in the Up in Smoke tour in Philadelphia with Dre and Snoop and Eminem. Wow, what a tour. What a concert. But yeah, Warren G was there. Nate Dogg was there. But yeah, that was literally the first album. I can't even believe that I remember that. I bought some weird albums though growing up. Like, I owned like Crucial Conflict CD, some rappers out of Chicago that most people just probably don't even know who they are. I used to buy like Helta Skelta was an interesting rap group. I mean, they were a little bit more aggressive than most groups, but those were the types of albums that as a kid I was going out and buying. Frankie, how about you, man?
So for the most part,
Garth Brooks.
No.
Yeah, you loved Garth Brooks.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Garth Brooks is pretty good.
that was every group song ever. Friends in Low Places. I didn't necessarily have the album, but you were screaming at the top of your lungs no matter what. So honestly, I was not that I was cheap. I didn't have a ton of money. My parents did okay financially when they got deeper into the 90s. Earlier than that, not as much. But I used to just take a tape and record the radio. So as far as buying an album, the first that I can remember physically going out and buying was probably Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Oh yeah, it was a great album.
That is a great album.
Yeah, again, I don't remember. There might have been ones before that, but I vividly remember picking that album up. And even worse, one of the first places I went to because I used to carry it on me all the time. And I was at my grandmother's house playing it. And she's like, "What the hell is this?" And I was like, "No, Graham, I promise it's good. It's good." And she's like, "No, it's not. Like, under no circumstances is this good music." But I remember that one. But I was kind of all over the map. I mean, Boys to Men,
Yeah, that was great.
That was the first album.
Philly group,
Motown Philly.
yeah. So I definitely rocked that 100%.
Look, I got to
That
give
was
you
actually the
boys.
first. Oh, go ahead.
I got to give you a quick Boys to Men story.
Oh boy.
All right. So I think I'm 12, maybe 13. I think I'm 12. And I go out to family vacation. My dad packs up my grandmother's station wagon, and we got a bunch of kids, right? So some of us are sleeping in like the hatch. Other people have seats in the actual like back row of the seat car. We pile out. We go to Wisconsin. Well, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they have something called Summerfest, and at Summerfest, Boyz II Men is one of the headliners, and we're there. And I convinced my dad. I don't know how. I convinced my dad to take us, myself, my younger cousin Anthony, who's probably like 10. And so it's me, him, and my cousin Anthony to go see Boyz II Men. Like I convinced him to get the tickets to go see Boyz II Men. And I'm like, Dad, it's not like the music that you think that I listen to, because this is the man who confiscated my Snoop Dogg "Murder Was the Case" tape, not even CD, tape. He confiscated that. So anyway, I was like, trust me, I'm like, they're really good. Like Boyz II Men, they're really, really good. So he's like, okay, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you, son. Right? So he's like, okay.
That's such bullshit. But
that's how he's like, oh, trust you. First of all, wait. Was I right? Boyz II Men was pretty wholesome, if you think about it.
Totally legit. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, they sang seductive songs, but they did it in a classy way.
Right. Yeah. Graham would have been okay with that one.
Right.
Not as much Nirvana, but
True.
Oh my gosh. So we get there. we get to our seats. Everything's fine. Our seats are actually pretty good. And the tickets are pretty cheap because it's a huge festival. So anyway, so we get in there. Adina Howard opens up for Boyz II Men. And do you guys know who Adina Howard is? Do you remember Adina Howard?
I don't.
She sang the song. Do you remember her, Joey?
I mean, yeah, my mom listened to her.
Your mom listened to Adina Howard?
I'm pretty freaking sure she had a tape.
No way.
Yeah.
She sang the song "Freak Like Me."
Okay, no, never mind.
I didn't know who it was.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be a freak all through the night.
I mean, my mom listened to Tupac.
Yo, your mom's awesome.
So
Tupac's got it. But look, so Adina Howard opens up for Boyz II Men, right? And this "Freak Like Me" song is literally like how she's just gonna like freak the hell out of you till the morning. Those are the lyrics. Because we're gonna boom boom till the early morn. Like those are the lyrics to the song. And look, Adina Howard, she was fit. That's all I'm gonna say. She was fit. So she is up there with all her little dancers, also very fit. And she pulls some guy up on the stage and she puts him on a chair and proceeds to give him. No, it wasn't my father. She proceeds to give this man a lap dance while singing the song and removing her panties and then placing them on his head. And my dad, I look over, he's just staring at me. He's just staring at me like,
I trust you, son.
Where the hell did you bring me? We didn't bring any $2 bills.
Right? No, my dad's not like that. He doesn't see the humor in the situation. Okay. And he's just glaring at me like, you lied to me. Your cousin is here. I could just see like I'm going down. Like this is gonna be a problem.
Oh my God.
Luckily, I'm redeemed by the fact that Adina Howard only sang like 2 or 3 songs. And
then Boyz II Men came in and totally saved you.
Yeah, that was the last one that she sang, so she could go off like with the crowd going nuts. Yes, and Boyz II Men came in
Dry.
Yeah, Boyz II Men came in. They sang like Motown Philly. They sang End of the Road. They sang Down on Bended Knee, and all was well again. Like the day was saved by the fact that Boyz II Men are both
It's literally like you
classy.
walking through sin and then going to church.
That's what it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, it's pretty much what it was, right? It's like, look, Dad, see.
But you may or may not have made love in the church after one of the Boyz II Men songs.
100%.
Dad, you have to start here to get here,
Yeah.
right? But no, it worked out great. I mean, also, I think it helped that they're just so amazingly talented. They're just such an amazingly talented group of people.
That was
But
actually,
yeah.
believe it or not, that was my first concert that I ever went to. Was Boyz II Men opened by none other than Montel Jordan
Yep.
Oh my God.
in Allentown. Yeah, I mean, I was young at that time too, but the whole family's there.
Did you get in
Mom,
trouble
dad.
too? Did he sing I Wanna?
He did, and no, I didn't get in trouble.
Did they just not listen to the words?
Probably not.
Yeah, they probably just
You know
weren't
what?
paying attention.
Good old Graham might have been there too. This is the Allentown Fairground. I think we were all there together. So
Mhm.
she, I'm sure, would have been pissed, but I don't think she might have been listening.
I imagine she wasn't listening.
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool though, because Montel was he was an undercard. You know what I mean? Got bigger with a couple of songs after, but yeah, that was the first concert.
I got to be honest with you. I'd pay good money right now to go see Montel Jordan. Just
Yeah.
Montel Jordan.
He's a pastor.
Well, maybe
now.
he's back again.
He could still be a pastor. He could be a pastor and still sing.
Oh, he literally cut all ties of that past time.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Mace.
He's not
At
going
one
to get his
point.
in a 6'4"?
No, Mace like tried to go pastor and then went back to that, and then like.
Well, Montel could come back.
I mean, this is how you do it, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was pretty good.
yeah.
That was pretty good. Yeah, but seriously, Montel Jordan, he ruled the radio, the club. I mean, he had a good 12-month stretch where he was everywhere.
He just never put anything else out that was worth putting in the club.
I mean, he had something for the Honeys. That was a decent
It
track.
was the same album.
It was the same album. It was the second single from the album.
What I'm saying is,
You saying after that album?
he just
that's
got his
not-
money. He
Movie-wise,
got his money
though.
bounced.
Movie-wise, his songs were still
Yeah.
like
Crushing.
bumping through. Yeah, I mean, like you think about like what, like Pitch Perfect, huge movie for music,
Yeah, I haven't seen
And-
that one.
and his music was in there.
What's
And
Pitch
that's-
Perfect about? I did
That's
see it.
About
I saw the
30
second
girls
one.
singing.
I saw the
Yeah.
second one with my wife. Is that the one where there's like an international competition?
Yeah.
I
Something
can't
like that.
tell when I watch these movies with my wife. I can't tell if she appreciates my sarcasm when I'm mocking the movies or if she's annoyed by it. I can't tell. It's one of the two.
Probably annoyed.
Yeah, but no, because sometimes the jokes really land. I get they don't always, but sometimes like they do make a lot of sense. That's how I watch The Bachelor as well, actually.
Mm.
Yeah, when I get roped into that. And she's like, do you actually enjoy watching The Bachelor with me? I'm like, yes, because I can watch like episode 1 or 2 and then like episode 7 and then episode 12, and I really haven't missed anything.
A couple missing people, but nothing
Yeah.
really matters.
Just
Yeah.
4 roses that you missed, maybe.
Right. Well, I mean,
Okay.
it's nothing that can't be cleared up with like
Exactly.
3 minutes of conversation. Like, okay, what did
We're
I
at
miss?
a
Well,
half
this
a
person-
dozen roses instead of a dozen. We're good.
Yeah, and now Chris Harrison, is he canceled? Did we cancel Chris Harrison?
I don't know. Did we?
I don't know. I never watched it, so
I never
I don't know.
watched
I
it.
heard that we did. I heard.
if Chris is canceled, it didn't change. One
Okay. Well, anyway,
millisecond.
we got it. We got it all the way here from Montel Jordan. So Montel Jordan, good for him. He's an evangelist now,
Yeah.
like Mace.
DMX. was
speaking
supposed
of-
to go that way though too.
There you go. DMX was a religious guy. He had a religious track on every single album, but we got to talk DMX, man. Joey, was DMX ever an inspiration for you? I know you said you started out as a rapper,
Yeah.
right? And have kind of found your own sound here now, but
Yeah, no, I definitely loved his music. I don't know about like crazy inspiration towards the music I make today, but I mean, I think he was definitely a big impact just on the hip hop industry in general. I mean,
yeah.
you're talking about a guy that literally has a cult fan base, Rough Riders. You know what I mean? Every like you have so many people across the world that rock the Rough Riders and know about
Yeah.
DMX. And then not only that, but also just his inspiration towards that type of music too. It's like exactly like you said, like putting a gospel record on every single album. And those were the records that the label never wanted to ever promote until there was one. I can't remember which one it was. I'm running a blank. It's something with prayer. That was
Wow.
the biggest one that No, it's literally it's in the name. I can't remember exactly what it is though, but yeah. But
Well,
no,
he traded on that first album. He traded the Rough Riders anthem. He gave them Rough Riders anthem. He didn't think Rough Riders anthem was hard enough, and he said, "I'll do it if you let me put the religious song on. Let me put my gospel song on." And that was part of the trade. Irv Gotti started Rough Riders with essentially DMX. I mean, he started it on his own. He started it with DMX kind of carrying the banner. And that's why that song even came out. It was called Rough Riders Anthem, was because they were brand new. DMX was offered, I'm sorry, he was not offered. DMX and Locks, at the time they were called the Warlocks, were like, they rolled together a little bit. And the Warlocks got picked up by Puffy, and Puffy said, you gotta change your name to the Locks. And they did. And if you remember Puffy, Frankie and I used to go around like high school parties singing like what do we used to sing in at those parties? We'd like they have like you could do, I don't know, you could request songs from the DJ, and we'd be like, yo, do you have a microphone? They'd be like, yeah. He'd give us the microphones. We would sing it. Mo Money, Mo Problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that was the one that was on top of the list every time.
Yep. Yeah, Mo Money, Mo Problems. So
that got me in trouble.
It got you in trouble?
Yeah, Ready to Die by
right.
Number 9, the record number 9, where he's hitting a girl in the studio and she's moaning. Literally the entire interlude record is her moaning. And my mom bought me this album, and I'm just chilling in the room, and this song comes on, and it's a girl getting railed in the studio. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. But go on.
Hold on, wait. We'll get back to everything because everything else is a big topic. But just to piggyback that, when you're talking about somebody getting railed, you have to reference the song Veronica.
Oh wow, Onyx.
Okay.
It literally, they stopped the fucking song to her getting slammed, going, "Oh sticky, oh sticky," like.
Yeah. I don't know if they stopped the song as much as it's part of the song.
Yeah, of course they built it all. It was actually a story. It's
a story, right? The song's a story,
and it just, the music happened to stop when she was going nuts, and then gunshot out after that. But I didn't want to pass by the opportunity to bring that song in when you were talking about number 9.
No, you're good. So Joey, I used to love Onyx, the group Onyx, and so I, was like, Frank, you gotta listen to it. You gotta listen to it. You gotta listen to it. So he does, and that was the song he loved the most off the album was Veronica. Have you heard the song Veronica by Onyx?
I have heard of Onyx. I have not heard that song, but now
okay.
As soon as we're done with this,
with my headphones on.
With
you got to put it on. The song is essentially about a woman who kind of like double crosses the person that she's with, and it's him telling the story, but really it's her through her type of a thing. It's kind of cool. But yeah, so Puffy
well produced.
Okay. So Puffy was doing like the Mo Money, More Problems thing, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down thing, the more poppy style. Like his lyrics were like, I have a Benz that I ain't even drove yet, like that. And so he denied DMX. He didn't pick DMX up. He said DMX was just didn't fit what they were trying to do. And DMX took it personally, and he went down a dark road. And then Irv Gotti signed him to Rough Riders. And they put out that album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. And rap changed. Rap got aggressive. Like he made it okay to be aggressive the way they was. And I'm not saying that other people weren't, but for a whole generation of people getting into like rap music,
yeah,
DMX hit hard. DMX rapped about things that you could relate to. Like I couldn't relate to having a Mercedes Benz that I couldn't even drive yet.
Yeah.
But I could relate to, if my friends got into an altercation, that like all the dogs were going to come out, we're all going to back up our guy and make sure everybody's okay. I could relate to having friendships that outweighed everything else in life.
Dude, he was the most.
It'd be nice to relate to what Puffy was talking about. That'd be great. Like, hey, we're just popping champagne
like
because it's Tuesday.
Yeah, can we all get there sooner than later, please?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah. You look at DMX though, like he was an amazing opener for even the Hard Knocks Life Tour. I don't know if you ever seen, like there's a whole documentary on Netflix and stuff, and I think his opening was always like the best, and he wasn't even the main headliner.
You know, he
over
battled
Jay-Z.
before he or Jay-Z were who they are. They battled
Yeah.
one time. They like street battled. DMX was like, I think they brought him up from like Baltimore to battle Jay-Z. Like people knew who DMX was, and that's how he started the barking. He used to bark in the battles to try to intimidate like his opponents. And he was like homeless. And so he would befriend all these stray dogs. So he related to himself as like a stray dog. And so he got into the whole barking thing. But he and Jay-Z battled. Allegedly, Jay-Z's camp says that they won. DMX's camp says that he won.
Of
Okay,
course.
it's the same thing between Jay-Z and Nas.
Oh, come on. Nas won. All right. We need a vote right now. Nas won.
Well, I mean, that's where I'm at.
Okay,
Ether was like
Frankie?
literally the most amazing freaking.
Ether, man.
Yeah, come on now.
Oh,
They-
Ether.
They went back and forth. How many songs went back and forth? Had to be close to 6.
I'm talking like you're
It
talking
was
like
a long time.
radio hits though.
Right.
That, like-
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mean face to face.
Oh no. I'm talking. Yeah, no. That's what I mean.
No, he's
Like,
saying usually
they're-
diss tracks are like underground.
like it's usually underground, but they're battling through radio.
Right. It was public
That's true.
eye
Yeah.
in your face.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it was
true
a
because
half a dozen
got
back
Yourself
and
a Gun was all over the radio.
Yeah.
I give that one to Nas. I mean, I guess if you're a fan of whoever, you're gonna pick whoever, but for me, it was Nas.
See, me was Nas too, but
Yeah.
at the same time, though, I'm also more of a Nas fan than I am a Jay-Z fan.
Okay.
So
Why?
there could be also a bias.
Why
I think
more
Nas
Nas?
is way more poetic.
You did say you're a poetry guy. You got into it through poetry.
I like the way his word flow was. That's the way I look at it. I mean, like again, Jay-Z is an amazing artist. I mean, he's a person that like knows how to sell records. So that is something huge, obviously, in the music industry and business wise. But I think lyrically, Nas definitely had him.
Yo, you got Jay-Z in your top 5?
Do I have Jay-Z in my top 5?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
backlash for that.
Okay.
Yeah. You're in the wrong city.
No,
for
I mean
this
it's no. You get to own
I'm in
your
the
own
right
top
city.
5.
Yeah,
I'm in
you're in the
LA.
right coast. You're in the right coast. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to. Well, I mean, they're both New York rap, right? So you got Queens.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, you get to own your top 5. You get to own your top 5. Nobody, no backlash if you don't have
100%.
Jay in your top 5. I saw Jay in concert. He was here in Charlotte. I had to go with the DJ. I went with DJ L Rob, Charlotte-based DJ.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Joey, let me ask you a question, especially as a poet, right? So when you write your lyrics, I'm assuming some of what you write either spills over or plays into the next song that you write or a concept that covers a few songs. We talked about this earlier with DMX always having a gospel track or gospel-esque track. Do you think that whole concept of what he rapped about and throwing that in is a little bit bigger than just the face value, right? Almost like a redemption scenario. Hey, first 9 tracks, 10 tracks, 11 tracks, whatever. It's life. It's hard.
Mhm.
We're in a fucked up situation. This is us. But I do have this in me.
I look at it, he's pretty much touching all bases. And again, this is why he was such a great artist. He if you're looking at the standpoint of, okay, if somebody listens to any of like his other records before that gospel type of record, it's gonna pull them in. He's gonna create a fan. And then they're gonna listen to that entire album and they're gonna get to that record. And what that's gonna be is relatable. That it's I want something better for myself and I want to be able to do something better for myself. You know, and then it also flips. There's people that are also living maybe in a better life, but they also see that. And then what it does is it brings like kind of like a nostalgia to them, knowing that, okay, I don't want to go back to that. So this is where I want to be. So I feel like him doing those things kind of really touches all bases between all of the listeners that he has. And that's why I think it was genius I mean, obviously he was being real about it. He wasn't like doing it just as a marketing standpoint. He was very real about the situation. But at the same time, that's also why I think he was as big as he was, is because he was real about both sides, that I can go through hell or I can also go through like a good part and I'm getting to that good part that
Right.
made him such a good songwriter, you know?
Yeah,
Did,
that's a really, really good point that like somebody like me probably would have never listened to those songs had he only released those songs.
Yeah.
But because he had the album that he had, and I listened to the whole thing back and forth however many times, yeah, you're right. That song was able to be a part. Like he was able to reach me through that song, which he wouldn't have been able to without the other
Yeah.
parts of the album.
so, Joey, would you say that is there a song that you've put out that you would say relates to a situation like that, where it is a situation you're taking it back to a dark place, and you're kind of springing forward as far as life is concerned?
Yeah. Again, dark would be Cold Hearted. Again, me being cold hearted, really not caring about the people around me, like just like kind of just doing my own thing, and almost kind of like a fuck you to the people that didn't want to support me through my career. And then also one of my biggest records, or one of my next biggest records of that, would be All Seeing. That was a very more of an emotional record. I'm not even gonna lie, like I cried even just recording that record. I literally freestyled that entire record. I produced the beat in like maybe a half an hour, and I recorded it maybe in an hour. And that record was really real because it talked about all seeing of I'm putting things out in the open. That was the third record. So I had 5 songs on my EP. That was the third record. So that was my transition. So my EP was called New Moon. So New Moon is a meaning of like new beginnings. So my first 2 records were very dark. The first song was With or Without You, which talked about like, like I can do this with or without you. And then Cold Hearted is like, it talked about this is what made me cold hearted. And then it went to All Seeing. So I put everything in the open for everybody to see that like this is the reason why I am the way I am. I went through, again, going back, like I went through different depressions. I've had anxiety to the point where it was like killing my entire day, because like I would have to be like in bed just because I couldn't get out of bed because I was just having anxiety attacks after anxiety attacks. And All Seeing was one of those kind of releases where it kind of showed that, like I'm putting things in the open, and it's either you can either love it or you can hate it, and I'm going to keep moving on. And then that's where it then went into the next song, which was 3:33 a.m., which was about coming over and like kind of like working the differences out. It's about like, like letting things go that I had in the past, and kind of allowing things to settle and kind of come to a different light. And then my last record was Around You, which was coming to that different opening.
That's pretty deep for 5 tracks.
Yeah.
It's more of a storybook from start to
Yeah.
finish, it sounds like. Yeah, very cool. Again, anybody who's listening to this, you need to start from the beginning and work your way through.
Because everybody loves depressing records. I'm gonna be real with you. That's the reason
No,
why. Oh my
I'm
god.
not a Dave Matthews fan, man. It's just
Oh,
not for me.
it's. I mean, do you look at like especially pop
You
music,
haven't
R&B
eaten
music?
mushrooms.
Like you need like you need like people love like negative stuff, and it's kind of sad to a point, but at the same time, it's like that's literally what sells. Is like what's going to sell a record that's going to be about a person that is in love, that is doing amazing things, or something that is a person that is being heartbroken, that is maybe like in the dumps.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Puffy sold a lot of records, and it was all about being happy.
I mean,
All about
he
being
was
happy.
giving hope, but at the
He
same
was.
time, people were coming out of that.
We're
and
all
looking-
sitting here going, we can't relate because we don't have the new freaking Mercedes.
Exactly.
No.
They woke up like, real quick.
I can relate to part of it because can't nobody hold me down. I got that part. That part was relatable. No, but I get what you're saying. That's awesome that you were able to build. I mean, create just that much through one spectrum. Very, very, very cool. Now, you asked us earlier the first albums that we bought. We never asked you. So, what was yours? What was the first album you remember going out and actually picking up?
The first concert I ever went to was Boyz II Men.
Man, look at everybody. We all Boyz II Men.
Same dice.
Yeah, but first album that was ever bought was Ready to Die by Biggie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I pulled my mom to, I'm pretty sure it was FYE, maybe because of the transition from the Wall to FYE.
From the Wall to FYE.
Yeah, the
Oh
Wall
my
was our
God.
generation.
Yeah.
FYE was yours.
That was like in the
Man, we
that was,
dated
like,
ourselves.
I was like still like young to that point, so like
Which
to be
means
like
we
at the
were
Wall.
old.
Yeah. But no, it's no, but
No,
so
I
like I
get it.
literally went into FYE and I said, I was like, like I really want this album. My mom was like, Joey, this is parental advisory. I'm like, Mom, that just means that like you're the one that's buying it. Just buy it.
Well played.
Yeah, like
And she bought that.
yeah, and then all of a sudden, like 5 hours later, I'm listening to the album and number 9 hits, and it's again back to Girl Getting Railed, and that was actually a legit thing because I read that.
That's the thing.
Well, no, but I mean, like that,
That's
like
where
that was an
babies come from.
actual recording to like. So what? Puffy, he left the studio and kept the recording on, and then they, yeah. So that was an actual thing that actually happened
In the studio,
Sample
and he decided to put it in the album.
Yeah, and he put it as an interlude, like literally the entire, like it's not even a record. It's literally just the interlude. That
Yeah, it's
literally
the interlude.
transition. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
transitioned the album, but that is the transition. But he was also married, to Lauryn Hill at the time.
Oh boy.
So,
Oh boy.
there's a little bit of
You're unpacking some stuff here,
yeah,
Joey.
like some risque shit. But that almost ruined my whole entire childhood of ever getting another album again.
Right? All of a sudden your mom, your mom's taking you like, Barney puts out some great albums. So you should check those out.
Yeah.
Okay, so
at the time.
So how did you get away with this? Like, how did you pull this off? Were you able to keep the album, or did you have to like I've told you, my father took away. He took Murder Was the Case. He just took it from me. Like it wasn't coming back.
My mom was also a huge person with just music in general. So like, I mean, obviously I just kind of like let it go at one point, it's just, I don't know.
Okay. You got out of it. You were able to keep it.
Yeah.
That's too funny. Too funny. I mean, so the interludes were like a big thing.
They're coming back.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
R&B music is a lead. I'm going to be real with you. So you're talking about hip hop music. We're talking about hip hop music, like talk about like bars and like metaphors and like just songwriting. To me, R&B music is way above that at this point right now. Like you're looking at lyricists and like people that are throwing melodies together. To me, that I feel like is outweighing what actually hip hop was to what it is today. Hip hop is very hard to find. Like actual hip hop, something that's good, something that's actually like wanting to listen to that makes sense to your own life. I feel like R&B music is running the game with the pen completely these days.
So R&B has replaced what hip hop used to be?
In my eyes.
Because I remember like hip hop, people used to listen to like Big L used to come out with some crazy lyrics that would just make you think, LL Cool J. There were just a lot of hip hop artists that would do things that would really speak to people. I loved Tribe Called Quest. I mean, you could listen to Tribe Called Quest albums just on repeat and not even get tired of it.
Yeah.
So how long would it take, in your opinion, for that to cycle back? Right? You're in LA, right? Fanny packs are a thing again.
Okay.
So that cycled back. So how, from a musical standpoint, how long does a genre take to cycle back into the norm?
Wait. Are fanny packs really a thing again?
Yeah, they are.
Oh yeah, but
were they ever really a thing the first time?
Yeah, but like, I mean, come on.
The only person I've ever seen pull off a fanny pack, the only person I've ever seen pull it off was The Rock. That was it. With Kevin Hart, Central Intelligence movies, got the fanny pack. Because I'll tell you what, like, I'm not risking poking fun at The Rock. Before you know, I'm getting the people's elbow.
Well,
like, it's a
all,
problem.
He's a local, so
he is a local.
He's from my hometown. He actually went to my same high school and my
Freedom
middle
High School.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So no, seriously though, Joey, when you look at music, obviously, if you're in the business, you've looked at music history, right? I'm sure you've gone way back and in different genres than you're used to, especially if you're picking up the guitar and the piano. You don't just start playing the piano. You look at the history of the piano. So as these genres and styles of music rotate, is there a normal timeline? Is there a trend?
I don't think I mean, there's definitely a trend. There's always a trend. I think music moves so fast, and that's the thing with just music artists in general, and why it's like we're constantly in the studio, or we're constantly creating, or we're constantly doing something different, is because we're trying to look for that next trend.
Mhm.
But at the same time, for example, you know, like you had 2000, like the year 2000 or no, 2000, sorry, 2020, and then 2019. The end,
Skipping a
yeah,
couple decades there.
literally just going off. But yeah, so 2019 to 2020 was huge with like 80s. So they
Mm.
started bringing back like that synth wave. They started bringing back like Rhodes Juno. Like they started like the production of, thanks to like the weekend. Like so like the weekend was a huge
Right.
person with that. You know, like he really embodied that entire genre, that era.
Like
And
Blinding Lights, man. Blinding
yeah,
Lights just totally reminds me
changes.
of the
I mean,
80s.
dude, I tell you right now, that thing should have easily got a Grammy nomination, and it got his entire album got no nominations whatsoever, which I feel
Wow.
like is complete bullshit. But on the side note, that's 80s, you know, like that entire, like that whole time that era went through. And then right now it's starting to dive back into the 90s. So I kind of picture like hip hop,
Vanilla
like,
Ice.
I mean, I don't know. I don't
I'm
bro,
sorry. I didn't
no.
mean to derail you there.
No, I mean, like, but I think it's just, it's definitely, like you look at like dance music of the 90s, especially because like EDM and electronic music is one of the biggest genres I feel like of
Mhm.
today right
For
now,
sure.
because there's you have festivals. I mean, obviously pre-pandemic, but festivals were humongous. You know what I mean? Like you're talking millions and millions of dollars put into festivals, and how many artists would go into it, go like, and a lot of it was EDM and electronic music. And so I feel like 90s music is definitely making its way back, like that 90s dance music. So I think again, like the hip hop genre is going to start picking up on that. And I think again, like, you know, just lyrically, I feel like things are going to kind of pick up with like, just maybe what they're talking about.
Do you pull anything from EDM? I mean, obviously, I'm not saying inside you're not taking tracks and embedding, but do you pull anything from that type of energy, or are you more poetic and rhythm
No,
based?
I have two records. I have one song called Count on Me, and I have a song called Malibu Bliss, which is very electronic EDM type of pop music. I work with a production team, 508. They're huge in the EDM world. They're really big with future bass, which is also another branch off of EDM music. That's like a huge thing I love. I actually really love electronic pop music. I wish I actually knew how to produce it better, because I totally would do that. That's something I'm definitely learning on as well. But the production for EDM music, dude, is it like me diving into production and then doing what I'm doing and then seeing what they do, dude, it's a totally different art form. Like you see like people like Diplo, or you see Skrillex, or you see Steve Aoki,
Yeah.
the Chainsmokers. Like I can go on for days. Like these people, like if you look at these people like doing this music, it's a complete art form. You're pulling melodies that are completely opposite of what a normal vocal melody would be, and you're making it instrumental, but also mixing in that vocal. And it's yeah, I respect the whole entire genre. I wish I could do even more.
So is there any relation, and again, it's totally different in my opinion, and I enjoy, for the last probably 15 years, I would say I enjoy EDM more than I do rap,
Hmm.
or hip hop. R&B is a different ball game, but so I've always been more towards the EDM side of things. Maybe it's the Italian fist pumper in
Yeah.
me.
Dude, it was the glow sticks. You like the glow sticks?
Glow sticks, natty ice. I mean, whatever it was to get me going. So Avicii died, obviously 3 years ago.
Rest in peace.
In that genre, that was, I can't say the DMX, right? Because Avicii was still killing it actively. Um, but
Hmm.
he changed the game, in my opinion. So is there a relation between that type of tragedy in the EDM world to DMX? To the difference, I think, is how many decades worth of people are upset.
with DMX.
Well, DMX obviously was around
Yeah.
before Avicii started killing it. So there's more generations
I mean,
using a
Avicii
decade
was a
reference.
huge. I mean, they have a huge documentary on what is it, Netflix or Hulu, and I think he bent or he shaped electronic music differently. Exactly like you said, like he was an innovator in a different type of trend, but the amount of shows that he did and the fans he would pull in and stuff. Yeah, I think he was like his passing was a huge impact to just music in general. I mean, you're talking he's done music with not only pop artists but with like also
Yep.
like hip hop artists. I mean, like he's embodied all genres and
Yep.
to bring it into an electronic world. So yeah, I think he's a huge impact. His passing was a huge impact to the music industry. I mean, again, the DMX is a totally different impact. You
Right.
know,
Somehow Avicii has been able to bring both worlds together in some form. And I don't
yeah,
mean necessarily hard rap, but bringing in different genres and different groups. But it's one of those things where you respect both scenarios and uh, you
DMX
kind of
embodied
smart.
a generation, though. I don't know if future generations will appreciate DMX or get into DMX
I don't know.
the way that our generation did, especially with the change. I mean, look, DMX was not a soft lyricist. His lyrics were raw. He
Yeah.
prided himself off of that. The man was ridiculously talented. He was
Mhm.
successful in music. He was successful in movies. And he did it his own way, but he was so different and so just unapologetically him. I don't know if people are as accepting
See,
generations from now of people being unapologetically them.
I think it's
He'll offend anyone. He did not care.
100%.
Right.
I think it's going to be like right now it's trending. No disrespect to his passing whatsoever, but people are using his music in TikToks or using his music in reels or any type of like thing that's going, because it's a trending topic. So it's going to bring a lot of people that are maybe in this era that are like way younger than who we are, or that are like maybe going through the music era of now, and they're going to dive into that. I mean, like you look at like Missy Elliott when she came out with
Mm.
what was it for the Super Bowl, and everybody was like, "Who's this new artist?" And we're all like, "What the fuck? Are you serious?" Like, how many
I
albums?
didn't know people thought that she was a new
Oh my
artist.
god! And everybody thought she was a new artist. So like, "Oh, who's this?" I can't remember who brought her out, but they were like, "Who's this must be like another like clout chaser artist." It's like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like, you
Wait,
realize the albums this person put out?
is it me or did Missy Elliott just completely steal the show on that Super
Oh,
Bowl?
she
Yeah.
literally she came back with
Everything
a
she
hit.
does.
Yeah, she is an amazing artist. I'm
Oh yeah,
going
she's
coincide with
amazing everything.
DMX.
She's done so much.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking like a female hip hop artist that literally broke the mold in that moment, especially because like you're talking about like Queen Latifah at that
Mhm.
like Left Eye, Eve, like how many people like were in
Mary
that
J.
generation?
Blige.
Yeah, like all these different people in that generation, and she was able to fully get a respect in hip hop genre, and then come back how many years later, and people were like, "Who's this new artist?" And then she puts a new record out, and it's freaking blown up. Not only to mention, but Timberland was also the producer for it, so it was like old times.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
know,
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of Timberland Magoo. I, I can't believe that people thought Missy Elliott was a new artist.
yeah.
That is mind blowing.
I mean, for
Wow.
us, everybody was like, "Wait, she was around a long time. Oh, like she must not have been that big." And like, no, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Yeah, I guess
Right.
for us, but I mean, when I was a kid, I remember people introduced you to music, the past music. Like people introduced, like this is how this came about, and this is why this did it. But also, you're right. I mean, like like I mentioned before, Puffy was really really big in the late '90s,
mhm,
and he did a ton of sampling, which would then also get people introduced to like what the original song was. I mean, those who cared wanted to
yeah,
look at it. But yeah, I didn't realize that people were that unaware of music of the past. But at the same time, DMX, I'm not surprised by. I'm not surprised by because you're either in that world or you're not, I feel like. And you even see it now, or at least I have on Twitter. You've got a lot of people mourning DMX or celebrating his catalog. And you have some people trying to cancel a guy who just passed, which to me is incredibly rude. Like the
Oh
guy
yeah. I
just
mean,
passed away.
that's also the generation of today.
which
Like,
is
what are you trying to
people.
cancel? What are you trying to stop him from doing
It,
something? Like, think about what you're doing.
that's the thing. Even like, I mean, like kind of like with like music, like music switching and stuff. It's, you know, like I listen to music of like today, and you know, like going back to like what music was back then, and it's, you know, people. I mean, like you have people that look at Biggie as not being a great artist. You know, you have people that look at Tupac as not being a great artist, or like that should be like a person that should be on a pedestal. You know, you have so many different people, and you listen to music and you're like, what the fuck is this trash? You know, but at the same time, it's like you have to open your mind to like, okay, how maybe your parents were listening to Biggie and Tupac back in your time, you know? So it's like things changed
Yeah.
and flip and flop so many different times that it's like people are gonna listen to old stuff. Cause I mean, like there are people, like there are kids who like listen to maybe rock and roll back then and they're like, this is music is amazing. And it's like, all right, well, like that was like my mom's time type of thing, and I didn't think it was that great. But you're picking it's that's the great thing about music. It's
80s music kind of seems like it's standing the test of time. 80s music
oh,
seems kind of
100%.
timeless. Like
Yeah.
all generations all know 80s music. They know the songs,
Yeah, that's because
right?
of
The
movies.
lyrics are a little cleaner, so it's probably more radio friendly, more wedding friendly.
Lots of wedding friendly for sure.
Yeah, lots of
Well,
wedding
I mean,
friendly.
you can take it back. So, you know, everybody has the way that they grew up. I'm going to move the mic here real quick, but I mean, you look at who's on the wall right now, right? So we got a little bit of Rat Pack fusion over
Sure.
here. Um, so for somebody who bought their first album was Nirvana and listened to Boyz II Men, listened to rap. I mean, I had 12-inch kicker competitions, 1,000 amp.
Mm.
You know, like everybody has how they grew up, but they also have what they were taught by their parents or grandparents, whatever influences. Um, you know, so you throw in a little Sinatra or Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, whatever the case is, like those influences. I hope, you know, I got two little kids. Um, they're going to listen to that. Well, they did listen to that when they were babies because they didn't have a friggin' choice. And I played it and they listened and hopefully they went to bed. But you know, they're going to be exposed to that stuff because to me it was important. Not necessarily my generation, but important. So same
Mhm.
thing with DMX or Biggie or Puff or Tupac. Certainly not going to play those albums until Enzo gets a little bit further on in life. But be like, hey, you know, this is what it was back when I was a kid. Um, I'm one of those type of guys, and you can tell from previous episodes that I don't mind swearing at all. I think anybody who's offended by swearing is a weak individual. I will go on record saying that
Hey man, you got to tell us why.
Yeah.
I honestly, if you're offended by 4 letters or 3 letters or whatever the case is, then you don't have a backbone. Period. End of
Mm.
story. If that breaks you, move the fuck on.
All right. So
Yeah,
you're a dad,
Yep.
he
and
is.
what do you how do you feel about like the whole everybody gets a first place trophy?
Oh hell
Okay,
no.
I was just making sure we're on the
No.
same page
Well,
here.
first of all, my and this is bad parenting 101, 201, 301, 404. We'll go on through all of the college levels. Horrible parenting. But again, I say horrible parenting on a normal scale. I really think you really are a weak individual if you think swear words should change the way you feel about your day. But um, I probably have used this phrase once or twice, and my 3-year-old daughter told my 16-month-old to stop being an ass.
Okay.
So the best part is she used
Did
it in
she
the
use
right
it in
context.
context?
In
Yes.
context. In context. So yeah, I mean, you know, people watching or listening may think I'm a horrible father, but if you knew me, you would know that things are completely in check in life, and these kids will be more than fine. But it just goes to that scenario where, again, we're taking it back to Frankie. My kids will be exposed to that. My kids will also, when they're older, will get exposed to a little bit more of the music that we listen to as kids, and we'll go on from there, because those things that were important to us shouldn't just disappear. Whether they like it is their choice,
Sure.
but they will be exposed to how we grew up and our glory days, right? So we learned about Zeppelin from our parents, and whether we took it or not, it was our choice. But hopefully everybody's thankful that their parents tried to expose them to what their generation thought was influential.
All right. Well, first of all, good job parenting, because it was used in context. That means you're
In
teaching your
context.
children
Yep.
context and how to use things. We need to focus on the positives sometimes. All right. Secondly, Joey, your question was, how do you feel about everybody getting a first place trophy? Did you mean a trophy, or did you mean
Participation.
everybody lands in first place?
Yeah, like a participation trophy.
No, participation trophies.
Yeah, no,
I'm also against participation trophies.
Okay.
Like, unless it's just like, hey, unless you're gonna give them the participation trophy the day they show up. I mean, like, here, like, this is something that it's like you get your uniform and you get this, and therefore it's now meaningless. Okay. But yeah, I'm against it as well. Look, why are we telling people that it's not okay to fail? And why are we telling people that it's not okay to then learn from those failures to get better? Like, that's how progress is made. So for me, if you teach somebody something, they participate in something, or they make an effort at something, or they compete at something, and then there's a result. And if that result is a loss, or that result is a win, you still have to reflect on how you got there and how it could have been better and how you can be better next time. And that's how progress is made. That's how progress has been made in everything. A lot of people, have these conversations when it relates to sports, but it's literally anything.
it's
Like,
life.
you want to, right? It's life. You want to discover a new thing. You want to get better at whatever it is that your job is from an efficiency standpoint. In Joey's case, you want to make music that is more emblazoned of what you're trying to showcase, or you just want to make a whole new whatever. The best of the best are always trying to outdo themselves more so than outdo everybody else. And you just can't teach people that if you're just constantly telling them that they won at everything.
Well, especially because it makes you try something different. Say if you picked up baseball and you got a participation trophy every single time, and you're like, I want to become a professional baseball player because I have all these trophies. But it's like, because then you're going to hit the real world, and are you actually going to become a professional baseball player if you never tried? It separates the people that are doing this sport and then maybe doing something else. And again, it's not against you, but it's the same thing with me. Like, I've done sports growing up, but I mean, like, I didn't end up doing sports. I ended up doing music because this is where I found my passion. That's what you have to find, and that's what makes you want to become better.
Right. So you keep getting awards in sports, and you think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread because you have a million trophies, and you're like, why the hell am I not in MLB right now? Like, I should be cashing big old checks playing for the Phillies or the Yankees or whatever. No, you sucked. You got a trophy for nothing. Let's move on. Listen, I with two young kids, right? I've seen the stages where they excel. I've seen the stages where they didn't excel very much. Um, the lessons are learned when they didn't excel. When they do excel, you congratulate them. You boost them up a little bit. But when they fail is where the learning comes in. I Mike, you and I have been friends literally since middle school. So we both know each other's upbringing. Before we met, there was more than enough hard times. Joey, your background is your background to talk about, but um, there it wasn't always success, right? There wasn't always good times. There was money issues. For me and my wife, there was 5 years of legit, holy fuck, there's money issues, and we talk about it probably once a week. That we love the fact that we sucked for 5 years, maybe 6 years. Like, we love the fact that we were getting kicked in the nuts every freaking turn. We were trying to figure out money for bills, trying to, like, that hardship made us not only where we are, but to appreciate where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we just ended up here, it'd be like, okay, this is fucking normal life. Nothing bad can happen. No pandemics can come. No, real estate market crashes can happen. Like, we're good. This is how life is. Fuck no. You start hard. And Joey, you talked about one of your albums specifically talked about the hate that you got, right? So you were in a dark place, suffered from anxiety, wrote that record specifically saying, you know, things weren't good, right? Things weren't good. There wasn't a lot of support, and you were able to take that energy, spin it, especially because you had support, right? You had somebody there helping you out through that and pulling those strings, making sure you're grounded, and then you turned it around.
No, 100%. I mean, I think that, yeah, no, like that record was just like one of those like kind of openers, to just being raw, just being real about who
Yeah.
you are. And I feel like that's what also brings people in. I mean, again, like it's not like you're sitting there trying to fake it, but like, like people realize like when you're real and when you're fake.
Mm-hmm.
If I put a record out and I'm sitting there talking about balling out and whatever it is and stuff, like, yeah, like, all right, like I live in Calabasas, but like I live in Calabasas because I love the outdoors, and this is where the outdoors is with LA. Is it more expensive than living in the inner city? No, it's actually pretty much almost the same price. You know what I mean?
Right.
But everybody coincides Calabasas with being like Kardashians and all this kind of stuff. But again, like it's just yeah.
Well, I mean, I've seen pictures on Instagram and all that. I mean, some of the pictures you post, you're posted up uh, on a hammock, like looking over a canyon. I mean, that's life.
Yeah.
That's life.
Frankie, I got to tell you, I think it's green screen, bro.
I mean, dude,
Joe,
the
is it
way
green screen?
dude, no, the way some of the, so I have the music video coming out for Heartstrings,
Yep.
and oh my god, dude, like some of the scenic spots that like literally like my backyard, and it even like me sitting there because I edit my own music videos and and stuff, and it's like just editing these music videos. I'm like, oh my god, like there's
Can
moments
you
where it's
edit
like
the podcast, please?
I got you, yeah.
It's on its way. It'll be in
Yeah,
your
I was,
inbox
I
tomorrow.
was gonna say we're sending it over. Yeah, yeah, dude, your talent for what you've done musically is one thing. I've seen your videos and your overlays, your transitions, the settings, just the shoot settings alone are phenomenal. Um, Living out in LA County doesn't hurt a setting for sure, but
No,
I mean, you do a phenomenal job. Everything that you do,
thank you.
every piece of this, you're touching yourself, right? So you're not showing up on set, throwing out a couple of lyrics and then heading out, right? And then there's 30 other people that are making this for you. Um, Obviously, you're not holding the camera, but for the majority of it, 90% of this is all you. And I can't commend you enough. And hopefully the people watching and listening to this realize what type of talent goes into not only the music but the production of it as well.
I mean, and it's the thing too, like even just going off of like talent, it's not even fully just talent, it's just work. Like how they say like hard work beats talent any day.
Right.
Because it's just I mean, yeah, like the talent is there, and like I definitely have like the vision and like whatever it is, but what I do is like I just work at it. Like for whenever I'd make a record, in the beginning it would take me longer to write a record or produce. Like when I first started producing, it would take me longer to produce a record, but it's just I had passion for it. I wanted to do it.
Right.
I was one of those people that I wasn't showing up just to get a participation trophy. I had to bust my ass to actually get that first place trophy. So, whenever every single time I would go into a record, I researched, I would read books, I would watch YouTube videos, I would do whatever I had to do to be able to figure this out. you know, because again, like, I mean, like it's, I'm not a millionaire, so I'm not able to say, you know, hey, do this for me, do this for me. You know, like that
Right.
was one thing like my dad always taught me, you know, like, you know, it was, you know, like doing an oil change, you know, like you want to do an oil change. Okay. If you can't do it, then you hire somebody, but you have to at least try, you know, try until you fail. If you fail 100%, you cannot do it, then yeah, you hire somebody. So that was always my mentality with everything I've ever done. Where if I went into music, okay, like I needed production. So I figured it out. And if I literally couldn't get to the point where I knew that it sounded good, then I needed somebody.
Call somebody. Yep.
Exactly. So
Perfect.
You know, this participation trophy thing, it just has me thinking, like, I mean, do people, is there satisfaction in the participation? Like, I can imagine like young me just
Short
like
term.
throwing it across the room, being like,
Yeah.
why did you hand me this? But I was like, as a kid, like ultra competitive, ultra competitive. I mean, I got
As a
ejected
kid?
from,
As an
yeah,
adult?
man. Like, you don't even, like, I've calmed
your
down.
lifetime.
Yeah, no, it was like ultra
I know
competitive.
you, Mikey. I know you.
No, dude, like I had to win at like it didn't even matter. It could be like a game I invented in my head that you didn't even realize we were playing. Like I had to win at it. And I remember getting kicked out of a soccer game. Like I got a red card at a soccer game. And you know, I'm walking towards the bench and somebody threw me a water bottle when I was about 10 to 15 feet from getting off of the field, the pitch. And I like threw it back. I just like threw it back at the bench. I was just so disgusted. We had an undefeated season. We were losing 2-1, and there was only like 15 minutes left. I got ejected for the game, and the coach is like, "You need to calm down." He's like, "They were targeting you." I'm like, "I don't care." Like it was like I blew this. Like we didn't even lose the game yet, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, I blew this for everybody. Like we had like we were coming back. In my head, no, it didn't matter. We were coming back.
Yeah, you were on your way back.
We were coming right. We were coming back, and I blew it, and I left them all out there hanging, and I was so angry. That if anybody would have handed me something and been like, "Well, you guys played a great game," I would have just stared at them. Right. It just like, are you kidding me? Like, did you not just see what happened out there? Like, there were two teams that went out with the same objective, and one of them walked away with the objective, and one of us didn't. And that was us. Like,
Yeah.
we now part of that was because we were having a great season. That ended up being the only loss of the season. The team that we lost to, we only played one other time. We had beaten them the first time, and the second time we lost that game. We played them again in a tournament, and we beat them in a thrilling game. They were just as good as us. It was just like we were the top two teams in the league that particular year. But man, I could never imagine being given a trophy and being told I accomplished something when I didn't, and then taking personal satisfaction in it. How does one get there? Just blows my mind. And I've been thinking about it for like the last 5 minutes. I can't think of anything else since you guys brought it up. Driving me nuts.
No, but it makes you think. It's like,
So I mean, it goes to a softer community, and by community I mean country.
Well, I mean, at one point, I'd rather just get rid of all trophies. Like nobody gets anything.
do we
Right.
say cheers to
Like, what's the
controversy?
value in it
Yeah,
if everybody gets one?
Joey says cheers to controversy.
Cheers to
so
controversy.
I'll
Yes.
go with that.
Yeah, I'm out. But yeah, right. No, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. If somebody wants to give somebody a participation trophy, I'm really not mad at them. I'm just talking about how I would react if somebody gave one to me. If no, at that age, as a kid, because I don't think people give them to adults. They do it in the form of accolades, I guess, instead of
Yeah.
trophies. But yeah, like I mean, hey, everybody's got to do what they think is right, and that's fine. But you brought it up, and it would just drive me nuts. And I could see someone giving to my kid now, and now I wonder, like, how am I going to react to that? And I haven't thought this through, and you have to think things through. I almost want to tell the kid, but you throw that on the ground, you walk away. You didn't earn that. You didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't earn that.
So-
you
so-
want one of those? You want one of those? You let me know you
Fucking
want
earn
one.
it.
We'll get you the tools. We'll get you whatever it is you need so that you can get there and you can have one that you can put on a shelf and you're proud of it.
And then
Not just
RoLo
because
goes,
you showed up.
and then RoLo goes to jail for being an aggressive father in the times today. But no, I agree with you 1,000%. I agree with you.
You can go to jail for that.
No,
You're telling your kid to throw a trophy on the ground.
I'm being facetious, but
if it keeps going the way it is,
yeah, I don't know if anybody realized this, but Joey leaned back like this and says, "If it keeps going the way that it is," and he's all the way back here. You're right, Joey, 1,000%. You just gotta. Here's your microphone. You gotta talk in here. But honestly, it's getting worse by the day. The trophies are getting more easily handed out, and the people who are objecting to that are getting crucified.
That's it. Tomorrow morning, when I'm getting my son ready, Floyd Mayweather is going to be on the TV, and he subconsciously he's going to be sitting there doing whatever it is that he's doing while I'm getting all his bag ready for the day, and he's Floyd Mayweather. That's it for the next 2 weeks. Floyd Mayweather videos, hard work, just him yelling hard work and him just dominating people. And I think he's one of the most disrespected athletes to me. Is Floyd Mayweather. There's some people who are like, oh, he's boring.
Even over LeBron.
They say he doesn't fight.
He's not that good.
They say he doesn't fight. He wins.
Meanwhile,
he doesn't fight.
And it's like, this man is so much better than everybody else.
Smarter.
And he's smarter, right?
All top.
That he makes other people who are professionals, the second, third, fourth, fifth ranked professionals in this sport, look silly when they try to fight. That's how dominant and good he is. And you see the X amount of rounds that he's out there.
Yeah.
But if you follow him, this man is so dedicated to his craft. I don't know. To me, Floyd Mayweather, that guy is the epitome of hard work, getting you somewhere, and then celebrating the fact that you're there. I don't mind the fact that he's brash. I don't mind the fact that, because you know what? He earned that.
I'll tell you,
until somebody takes it from him, that's his.
On his Instagram, his trophies are in his garage, and I've seen all of them. And they're beautiful, and they rhyme with Bentley because they are Bentleys, and Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and oh my God, I can't stop looking at his IG when he starts just freaking going through his garage. He's like, which one should I choose today? Should I take the Bentley? No. What about the Ferrari? No. What about the AMG? No. And he just keeps going, and I'm just like, fuck. Like he did it. He accomplished the goals. He was smarter than everybody else. He prepared better than everybody else, and his dreams have been achieved. You can't be mad at that. End of story.
But see, there's also the mentality, though, too, also with what you just said, is that there's also a lot of people that look at that and be like, why is he showing off? Why is he showing all this stuff? But then there's also the mentality of like, shit, I can do this too.
Mm-hmm.
Let me fucking bust my ass and do this.
For him, that's part of his brand. He was so smart at being like an antagonist while also happening to be the best at something, which he earned. He worked his way to be the best at something. And then he learned how to market himself. He learned how to manage himself, promote himself. He's one of the most impressive athletes that I can really think of when it comes to all of those facets.
Yeah.
And people hate him. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. You don't have to like everybody. You mentioned LeBron. I'm not the biggest LeBron fan because I view LeBron differently, I think, than some others might. Like when people ask me like LeBron or Jordan, I go Kobe. And I still think Jordan, I still put Jordan at one, but I always say, like, how can you not mention Kobe? Because if you were to say to me, who's getting the ball with 3 seconds left, LeBron or Kobe? For me, it's Kobe. And for other people, it's LeBron, and I get that. That's fine. But for me, it's Kobe because I can count on Kobe. Kobe's not passing to some guy who graduated from a D3 team and got picked up off the waiver wire a week before to take that final shot. Kobe's taking the shot. Everybody knows Kobe's taking the shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm comfortable with Kobe taking the shot, even if he's guarded. And Jordan has his messaging about how many times he missed those final shots. But man, he gave it up that one time. He gave it up to Steve Kerr. That boy could shoot.
That boy can shoot.
Right. And it went in and it worked.
Threes all day.
Yeah, not to take away from LeBron. I think that's the problem with the NBA is not the problem, but the problem with the whole LeBron conversation is when you're that great at something and people hate on you as if you were bad at it, where they talk about like, no, the argument is just, are you the best ever? To be in that conversation is an accomplishment.
Right.
Oh my God,
Put me in
100%.
that conversation. If I lose that conversation and I'm hovering top 3, top 5, first of all, I'm not an accolade guy, so like those guys want to be talked about. I would prefer to have a whole lot of success and like Homer Simpson, just fade back in the bushes, right? I want to disappear, um, make good money, do my thing, and disappear. Um, so I give a lot of credit to those guys because they put up with a lot more shit than hopefully I will ever have to deal with,
Yeah.
right? You know, the Kobe's, the LeBrons, Joey Capo, killing it when things pop off. You're gonna have to deal with things that are very different than, let's say I hit the lottery or things go well, my career, and I can just fade away.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that luxury.
No, I mean
You
that's where it kind of just you have to kind of accept it the way it is. Again, like, if it got to that point where I was a Drake, or I was like that huge person that couldn't walk into Target, and like you were like literally getting bombarded. I mean, like that it is what it is. But at the same time, like success is, in my eyes, success is just living off of whatever your passion is.
right. I mean, dealing with that's um it takes a special person. It really does.
Yeah.
I think it's a fraction of 1% who can get into that world and come out okay, like knowing. And you've
Mhm.
been doing this for a while, and I know that other people have, but you've been doing this for a while to understand that when that huge break happens, that's life. And I think you've prepared yourself from our conversations. You've prepared yourself that you know, things could be different, and you are who you are. You know your
Mhm.
roots. You know where you come from. And you can handle that and be a good person, you know. I'm not talking about taking photos with every human being that walks down the road,
Yeah.
but being a good person, not being rude, not being brass when somebody asks you something. Um, that's the difference between that celeb that somebody likes and that celeb that to their
Fame changes
face
people,
gets
man.
shit talk, you know?
Fame can change
Yeah.
people.
Yep.
I mean, mm, it definitely can. I mean, I think I've seen like a lot of that, even with just people that, like that I've kind of music, you meet different people and stuff like that that might break through the industry. Like you give them like that, like little bit of respect of where it's like, damn, like dude, like that's awesome. Like you show that, but then you obviously start to see them change in that way. That's one thing that like I've always, again, it's whatever happens for me. Like if it blows up to being this huge thing, okay, it is what it is. Like I'm married for 6 years, and I've definitely been through a lot of different things. I'm 30 years old and stuff. So it's like it could be way different than a person blowing up at 21. So I definitely
Right.
feel like that's like maybe my story. But for the people that are like, that are kind of out there that are in that progression so fast, like it's just, dude, just stay grounded with
Well,
yourself.
well, look at,
Right.
I mean, even not this thing, like look at Justin Bieber. Like Justin Bieber puts out the song "Lonely," which I actually really think is a great song,
Great
and
music these days.
right, and it feels like I listen to that song, I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's actually kind of pouring his heart out, or I'm being duped. It could be either one, but it seems like the man is pouring his heart out,
Take it as it is.
yeah, into a song, saying like,
Yeah.
do you realize how hard it is to be amongst everyone and alone at the same time? And every little thing that you do is analyzed and scrutinized. As a 19-year-old kid who was literally at the height of popularity,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
um, everybody knew who he was. If you were 6 years old, you knew who Justin Bieber was. If you were 60 years old, and if you were in between, you knew who Justin Bieber was. And for a lot of people, they had an opinion on it. And when you think about it, he was just a kid.
Yeah.
So the song, I really was impressed by that song. I don't really follow his music. I heard the song. I was like, oh, I got to listen to that again. Like, that sounded really interesting. Listen to all the words and then realized it was him. So it actually took me a second to realize it was him. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm sitting here explaining to my wife, like, this Justin Bieber song. And she's like, what happened to you? Where's my husband?
Where's DMX? Where's Mikey? DMX,
Okay, back to DMX because we're going to wrap things up here. Actually, I got one other thing for you, Joey Capo. Joey Capo, I need to know if there was one artist that you could work with, if you could do a collaboration with right now, like that's out there right now, like who would you want to team up with?
I would say it's definitely between two people.
You can name them both.
Yeah.
They can each have a verse.
Yeah, I feel like verse-wise would definitely be like Big Sean. I don't know if you ever heard of his music.
Yeah, well, come on. Yeah, we know who Big Sean is.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Actually, Frank, you know who Big Sean is?
Yeah. So like Big Sean is like he's a huge person with like just hip hop, but I just love his lyricism and also just his storytelling and his metaphors to like how he writes his lyrics. But outside of that, I think like that he would be a person that like, like if I would do a record, chorus, verse, and he would have like one verse, I would say, dude, throw Big Sean on that because I know for a fact that it would take me a while, so I'd make sure that everything was so pristine because he's so lyrically inclined. But outside of that, also is like Post Malone. Post Malone's an amazing artist.
Ooh, is Post Malone 27 yet?
That's a good question. I don't know.
No, the reason I ask is because like they have like have you seen like all like the artists that like Kurt Cobain, like 27?
Okay.
They like get claims at 20. Yeah, 20. They get claims at 27.
To be honest. I mean, he's
Post
huge.
Malone is somebody that people have said might be on that list. Like it's like a list of this like greatness, greatness. It's like things that these particular people have achieved, and then they all hit age 27,
and then they pass.
And he's achieved those things.
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's crazy. We'll have to look into that. And so, Big Sean, I actually like his verse on DJ Love's track, "Back Up Off Me." I think that he's really, really good on that track.
I just think he's dope. Just an amazing, just lyrics are just crazy again.
Yeah. So we got to get Joey Capo. We need everybody's help. We need to get Joey Capo paired up with Big Sean to do a record.
That would be a song. I'm not even lying. Just it would. I know some people that like know him and stuff, and just I mean, he lives right in Beverly Hills.
But we got to tap into these people, man.
So I
tap into these people.
Let's get it out.
You mentioned Drake earlier.
Momentum.
Yeah.
Right. You mentioned Drake earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Drake did a song with Lil Wayne, Kanye, Eminem.
Forever.
Right? Forever. Right?
Yeah.
So have you heard the story about Kanye writes his verse and then Eminem puts his verse down? And Kanye's like, holy shit, and rewrites his verse for the song.
No shit.
Yeah. So Kanye is happy with his verse, sees what M does, and is like, nope. Yep. And he goes out, rewrites his verse so that he can kind of like get back into everything.
Question is, does Kanye even write though?
Yeah, I think Kanye does. You know, Kanye's a hell of a producer. I mean, he was producing way before he was rapping, right? Like amazing producer.
But he also says that he doesn't write.
Well, he wrote that one. According to the story, he wrote and then rewrote that one.
Yeah, no, he
doesn't write. He doesn't write any of his stuff.
I gotta give a lot to Kanye just because. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of cheers to controversy with him. But he's done his shit on like between production to songwriting to music he put out, like he has always stayed relevant through the industry for how many years?
Right.
He's a very talented person.
Long
Yeah.
time.
You know, so
He's a very,
obviously
very
there's
talented person.
I mean, again, like he knows how to conform to the era. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
Well, he's not shy, and some people feel that he rubs them the wrong way. But look, he is who he is. He's another one. If you're unapologetically you, maybe I'm just too like, hey, if you're unapologetically you, do you,
More
man.
props to that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think the
Exactly.
problem is though with Kanye sometimes is he does get like upset if people
Yeah.
are down on him.
Mhm.
And I can see why people might be rubbed the wrong way about it. Like,
There's some
look,
saltiness for sure.
yeah, if you're gonna be you, then be cool with it, right?
Yeah.
Just be cool with it. But he's
I
an
need
amazingly talented guy. He's produced. He has created so much, either in front of the scenes or behind the scenes.
Well, with
So
like
yeah,
Drake, when Drake made this song, like Kiki, are you riding? Like that one, like
hmm
which was a huge major hit.
yep,
Like Kanye went right on live and said, "Why would you make a song saying Kiki when it talks about like because obviously his wife is Kim Kardashian, so you think of Kiki." He's like, and he
okay,
says he's like, "I wouldn't make a song called Riri, considering like Rihanna
come
was
on.
used to be." So he took it very personal, but at the same time, there's also a song with him and Drake and Travis Scott.
yes, there is.
Yeah, where Travis Scott is signed under Kanye West, and Drake says literally the exact directions from his house to Kanye's house, which obviously Kanye lives with Kim Kardashian. And so it's a little weird.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the song, Frank?
No, I know the lyrics, but I
Yeah.
it's
Sicko
not a
mode.
song
It's
I listen
sicko
to.
mode. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sicko mode. But do you know what he's referencing?
No.
Go ahead and tell him, Joey.
So like he literally like I don't know. He kind of really puts it on. I'm not trying to do this, and all of a sudden I know where Kanye comes back. I saw your fucking interview.
No. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good.
But
So
I mean,
essentially, what
it's
he says, Frankie, what he says is he goes into his verse. Drake goes into his verse, and if you look at a map, Drake's house and Kanye's house, they're not that far apart.
Mhm.
And so what he says he crept down the block, right? So he's creeping down the block. He says he cuts the light. And he hangs a right, like he gives the directions then, like how to get to Kanye's house. And he talks about so
cut the lights and then paid the price. So that means he got caught.
yes, he paid the price, right? He just got so he wraps it up by saying checks over stripes. So that you really do know, like to really confirm it, to just really like, yeah, this is definitely because he reps Nike and Kanye reps Adidas. I mean, the song is literally about
it's
going to
100%.
your
It's
house.
Yeah.
pissed.
And
Yeah.
Kanye got pissed.
Oh yeah, he went on the live, and it was on Shade Room, it was on Complex, and they're like, he's losing his shit again, and it was and that was entertaining.
Yeah. Well, it's the entertainment industry, and they're
Yeah.
providing us that entertainment.
Yes.
Too funny. Okay. So look, we're gonna wrap it up today, but real quick, Frankie, we'll start with you because I can't imagine the catalog's too deep. But what was your favorite DMX track?
Totally corny to say Anthem, but it's Anthem or Slippin'.
No, I mean, that's not corny to say those songs. I mean, you're the one listening. You're the one who gets to pick what one your favorite. I don't think that's corny at all.
Yeah, I would say Anthem and then Slippin'.
Okay.
What's My Name is probably number 3.
Yeah, What's My Name was hot.
That's
Yeah,
like
that was
banger.
good. All right, Joey.
I'd probably say No Love for Me.
Okay. Okay, that's a different one.
Also
Not as many people go with that
I'm
one.
very I'm very
I'm just happy neither one of you said Party Up. I was just so happy that neither one of you said Party Up.
That's because everybody and their mother freaking played that at every wedding, every birthday party, and
yeah, it just wasn't for me. It
was on freaking Tiger Woods, 2002, every freaking time.
was?
it would go right back to the main menu. It was like, party up in here, up in. We're like, oh my god.
I think I changed mine to say, "I Am Number One" by Nelly. I think that's the song that I had.
Okay.
Because
Nelly.
because I was like, you know what? Like, if anybody could just roll down the block at that time, listening to that song and be like, it pertains, it was Tiger Woods. Like, it was just Tiger Woods. You know, like
9 iron.
yeah, I
So
mean,
RoLo, what's yours?
so okay, so like my favorite DMX song is just it's probably not the most popular choice. It's an unusual choice, but it's literally Intro, which was the intro to the
From the
album
yeah.
of It's
It was
Dark and Hell is
Yeah.
Hot. And it's
okay.
not, I mean, it's definitely a song, it's definitely the track, but it's
a
not
number.
one that people would ever think. I mean, its name almost makes it something that people don't even think to guess. But like for me,
Right.
it was Intro. And I think a part of it, it was obviously, it was the first song that I heard DMX ever sing. And it hits so hard. And you're just like, even from the beginning, just like when it hits you with the bell, it's like dun dun dun,
Yeah.
and then like it just like builds up. The build is incredible, and then he just starts just going off, and I was immediately hooked. I'm like, and all my plans are canceled. I'm listening to the rest of this album. Like this is what's happening. And I used to listen to that song sometimes before sports, before like competing, and just to get into that zone and that mode of like a rhythm and a mentality of like let's do this, let's go out there, let's lay it on the line, and let's win. And you know, you don't win every time, but man, did that get you in the mood to compete.
Totally.
Yeah, so for me it was Intro. So all right, a lot of good tracks. Joey Capo, thank you so much for joining us today. We couldn't be happy to have you on. We hope to have you on again in the future. It was
Hey,
great
Joey,
getting some insight to your career.
Joey, really quick. You mentioned a little bit of merch. Where do people go to get your merch?
Yeah, where can we go?
You can go to joeycapomusic.com. Literally, it's called the True Shop. Yeah, you just go to joeycapomusic.com, or you can Google Joey Capo, and it will pop right up.
All right, and you said the rest of your music you can get it pretty much anywhere: Spotify, Apple Music,
Pandora, Apple Music, everything.
Awesome.
Yeah. Excellent. Everybody, go out, check out Joey Capo on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. Check out his music. New music coming out soon.
Links will be below.
Yep. What's that?
Links will be below.
Yeah. We'll put the links in for you. Absolutely. Yep. The links will be below. And be sure to subscribe to Cheers to Controversy. We kind of keep on bringing more artists like Joey Capo and just more controversial topics. Look, if you agree with us about the trophies, great. Tell us about it. If you disagree with us, tell us about it. We don't care what your opinion is, as long as you have one.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. Everybody have a great one. We will catch you on the next episode.
Thanks, guys.